Chris says, ring dips versus bar dips. Do you tend to favor one over the other as a strength building exercise, and why or why not? Now, the first question we always have to ask ourselves when we're looking at two different options, two different exercises, and establishing which is the best, we have to ask ourselves best for what? Now, obviously, Chris in this question has asked the best for strength. So in this context, we're talking about which of these two options is the best for building strength. It's not saying it's the best exercise, but the best for strength. To be able to answer this question, we need to understand how we can determine what an exercise will actually improve. And we know from talks we've done in the past about strategy for workouts and programming for workouts that you should program to try and create a stimulus so that the limiting factor is what that session improves. If the limiting factor of a training session is cardiorespiratory endurance in a certain time domain or energy system, that's what that session will improve. If the limiting factor is strength, that's what the session will improve. So we need to look at these two options. We need to look at bar dips and ring dips and establish what the limiting factor is. Now, with a bar dip, the limiting factor is strength. Your ability to be able to generate strength, generate force through those dip bars to be able to lock out the rep. In a ring dip, however, more often than not, the limiting factor is going to be stability. Smaller, more segmental, stabilizing muscles. So when we ask ourselves which is better for strength, we need to ask ourselves which of the two movements has strength as a limiting factor, and therefore that movement is going to come out on top on the strength stakes. And in this example, that would be a bar dip. So a bar dip is going to be the best way to improve strength in that dip. However, if we're looking at trying to build more shoulder and scapular stability or the ability to maintain external rotation torque, then the ring dips are going to come out on top because the focus, the aim, the intent of the movement is different. Now, what you'll find will start to happen as an athlete becomes more advanced and more practiced and their training age increases, a ring dip will start to become a better movement for strength, not necessarily better than a bar dip, but better than it was the first time you did the ring dips. And the reason is, as you work on a weakness, as you work on something like a ring dip, and the stability and the balance is the limiting factor, because it's a limiting factor, that's what will be trained. Therefore, as you train it, you're improving your stability. You'll take it to the point where eventually that's not the limiting factor. Maybe strength is then the limiting factor, and then the ring dip starts to become a better exercise for strength development. But this takes a long time to do, and I would say that even then, a bar dip is going to be superior in terms of generating strength. So we can extrapolate this out to other exercises as well. What's the best exercise for improving overhead strength? Maybe that movement would be a strict press with a barbell. But that's not to say that doing strict press with dumbbells is not going to be an effective exercise. It's just not as effective for strength. So if you're trying to work on the stability, it's going to be better to use those dumbbells. And if the limiting factor in your strength is your ability to stabilize the bar, then maybe doing some work with dumbbells is going to be a great way to do that. The same could be said for the lower body. There are a few people who'd argue that a good back squat isn't the king of exercises for the lower body. There's so much hip extension and knee extension there, it really is very effective. More effective than something, say, like a pistol, which is the same sort of movement pattern, but now we're not able to do as much. So you wouldn't expect to be able to do a pistol with 50% of your max back squat. So look at the intent of the exercise, look at what you're trying to get out of the exercise, and make sure that the intent or the limiting factor of that exercise matches your goals for the exercise. To answer the question, I wouldn't say that bar dips are a better exercise, but they are a better exercise for strength, and in my opinion, a very underutilized movement.